Hello everybody. Today something different. I'm going to be reading from my last book called The Human Hologram. Something I wrote in 2010, and I came across this chapter again recently and I felt it was very relevant to our times, present times. This is a chapter towards the end of the book, chapter 20 in fact, called Cults and Control. And it starts with the Hopi proverb that says, "Thoughts are like arrows, once released they strike their mark. Guard them well, or one day you may be your own victim." I'm going to skip to the part where we're going to be talking about mind control, particularly mind control of adults. I preceded with talking about mind control of children. So here we go. Adults too are susceptible to the process of mind control, commonly labelled brainwashing. One of the pioneers in this field is the American psychiatrist Robert J. Lifton, who prefers yet another term, thought reform. Lifton studied US servicemen who had been held captive in the Korean War. In his 1961 book, Thought Reform and the Psychology of Totalism, a study of brainwashing in China, he analysed the various methods of thought reform employed at the time in Eastern communist states. He identified 8 salient points aimed at helping people decide whether a process of mind control is being enacted. And I have added a brief explanation of each point. Point 1. Environmental control. This limits communication with the outside world. Extreme censorship, in other words. Mystical manipulation. Claims of a higher purpose or demonstration of a miracle early in the process are signs of such manipulation. Point 3. Demand for purity. The group alone is responsible for significant change in the person and in society as a whole. 4. The cult of confession. The insistence of open disclosure of past sins as well as negative thoughts about the group. 5. Sacred science. The group's perspective represents the absolute truth. There is no room for robust debate. Number 6. Loaded language. Strict adherence to a limited or altered language. This restricts debate and limits discussion to black and white dogma. Number 7. Doctrine over person. Personal experiences that conflict with a doctrine are denied. And number 8. Dispensing of existence. Those who leave or exist outside the group are doomed. In a later book, The Nazi Doctors, Lifton examines how and why members of the medical profession were able to supervise mass murder in the Nazi concentration camps. It is a chilling investigation of the underlying psychological mindset that drove intelligent, vocationally trained doctors into justifying and rationalizing their role as killer healers. The reasons are complex and still difficult for us to fathom. However, Lifton identifies that the doctors acted in this way, at least in part, in an attempt to overcome a profound feeling of powerlessness. Hypnotic techniques, with or without specific medication, can also be used to induce a state of mind control. In a 1995 Wall Street Journal article, 500 people a month in Colombia were reported to be the unwitting victims of poisoning by the drug burundanga. The anti-motion sickness pharmaceutical scopolamine is refined from this compound. Classically, someone would ingest a drink laced with this poison by a street criminal and immediately lose their free will. They would hand over money and jewellery and even make bank withdrawals in the robber's presence. when the effects of the drug wore off, the victim would retain no memory of the event. Throughout the developed world, Rohypnol, a sedative and hypnotic medicine from the benzodiazepine class, has gained a reputation as the date rape drug. It has been commonly used in combination with another drug, GHB, GABA hydroxybutyrate, to spike the alcoholic drink of a potential victim. The spiker would then hope the victim would lose her will to say no and comply to have sexual intercourse. She would subsequently have no memory of the event. Recent studies suggest, however, that the most common date rape drug is alcohol itself. I then go on to describe some personal experiences, but I'll skip those bits. Of course, ultimately, we are all responsible for precisely how and what we choose to learn. There is good evidence that many of the long-term sinister effects of mind control strategies do eventually wear off. I have seen many middle-aged folks who spent years of their youth in closed cults who now think and act freely. In some cases, their children have been their salvation, teaching them home truths in the way only our children can. I believe the greatest protection against mind control we can offer ourselves is an ever-present awareness of our right to exercise our free will. And as the Hopi advised, we should not only be cautious of being struck down by other people's malicious thoughts, when like barbed arrows they are fired in our direction, we should also guard against those we aim recklessly at ourselves. As we progress in life, we mellow, I hope. We learn to be open-minded, yet, I hope, seldom gullible. Healthily skeptical, yet seldom cynical. We learn to be wary of any extremist who expounds dogma, and to be protective of our children and our grandchildren, and of the vulnerable, until the time comes when we perceive they are ready to be truly independent. Thank you for listening to this. I hope that has proved to be as helpful to you as it has been to me over the years, and specifically now at this very stressful time in history. Thank you.